Should there be a difference in training between male and female?
Love this one.
And I think this is a complicated one. Not complicated. It's actually very simple.
Are you going to say controversial?
Controversial.
I think, yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's the
yeah.
word.
Yeah. So, yeah. Is there?
So I know, Andres, we've spoken about this before, and Emily too. I think with each client, it depends. And I know that's an annoying answer.
We say it all the time.
For
say
a
that
lot
all
of
the
people,
time.
but
All the time.
it really depends. So if someone has a specific goal for a sport or something, it depends. But generally speaking, my clients are actually 50% male, 50% female, and I train them the same way.
Right.
We're all squatting, we're all doing pull-ups, we're all bench pressing. Some, if they want to focus a little more on something, I can give them that. But as we all know, you can't spot reduce either. So sometimes, sure, you can show a certain area a little more love and sculpt it a little more, but that also depends on your genetics too. Yeah. So my overall answer is no, you shouldn't train differently. Everyone should strength train. Everyone should do cardio. Everyone should do everything.
Yeah, I agree, for sure.
They're all human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Yeah.
Our bodies.
What do you think, Emily?
I agree. There doesn't need to be a difference. I mean, of course, if you're practicing for a specific game or run or
Certain specific
Sports.
activity.
yeah, something specific, yeah. But generally for health and fitness, no, I think everyone should lift a barbell. I think everyone should, learn how to sprint and, the overall
Human movement.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the elements that you guys are explaining in terms of the what elements you can incorporate into the programs are all the same. Would you change maybe the intensity / the volume / the more intricate parts of combining those elements together to adapt itself better to a woman's body as opposed to a man's body?
So I do that a lot too, depending on the day my client has had. And, if they come in really stressed with work, I change those things. Now, specifically with men and women, not so much unless the woman comes to me and is like, I just got my period today.
Yeah, you were going to say that.
Yeah.
Then
That's what I was looking for.
That's the only difference that I would factor in, that a guy wouldn't come to me and be like, I just got my period today.
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully not.
but I always ask the same question. Now, one may be that answer. One may be, I'm really stressed out at work and I didn't sleep. So the end result may end up being the same. We take the volume down, we take all that stuff down, but that's the only difference.
So it's not necessarily the gender difference. It's more of what happens because of the gender difference.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And or just individual too,
Yeah.
right? Because what you guys were explaining at first is that there are certain things that you might want to focus on if you're playing a certain sport, if you have a certain activity, if you have a certain date that you're training for, or an event.
Which at that point it becomes like sport specific.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's way more dependent on what the person is trying to do, what their goals are, rather than what gender they are.
Yeah,
Correct.
absolutely.
Anything to add?
No, you guys
That's
are covering basically everything. So I'm just here
We love it. Hi, man.
listening to all this good information. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, everyone's different. You can't give everybody the same workout program.
No.
It's going to be different. Like she said, the amount of energy you have, everybody has ups and downs throughout their day. So by the time they get to the gym, you want to accommodate to how they're feeling and how much energy they have to put and focus into the gym.
Yeah, the program may say one thing, but if someone didn't sleep the night before, sorry, we're not hitting a 1 rep max today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
just
think
not
that's
happening.
something very important. We've talked about that before in the podcast about intensity, and it's how romantic it is to have that thought process of I'm going to go into the gym and beat the living, crap out of myself,
Right.
just so that I can, feel like I
out.
did something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in reality, you want to manage that stress. You want to come in, and if you had a terrible night's sleep, if you didn't have good nutrition the day prior, you want to modify and adjust your workout to fit the amount of energy that you have and also the amount of recovery that you were able to get.
Yeah, that's something
And-
that I tell my clients all the time. We're not robots. We're
Yeah.
humans. And so you might have the best week of training, and then the next week is going to be kind of a crappy week if you haven't been eating good, like you're supposed to, or sleeping because of the stress, or you change your job, or we discussed this plenty of times in our podcast. But either way, the goal is to show up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Show
Oh,
up
yeah.
and do your best for the day. And so if you do that, that's a win.
whatever the goal
Build
is for the day,
habits.
Right.
try your best to
Right. So
accomplish it.
if you're calling for a 1 rep max, maybe it's not a PR, but hey, you're hitting the heaviest 1 rep max that you can hit for that day.
Yeah, and I know Emily and I both, which is kind of why we bonded and became friends, but we're very passionate about like living a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. And I would rather someone be consistent than have those crazy intense weeks, because it's not, like you said, we're human. It's not practical, but I would still want you to show up, and maybe instead of 1 rep, you know, you give me like 8 with a lot less weight, but you did movement today,
Right.
and that's a win.
Yeah.
So
And I think
Yeah, and it
it's
gets you closer to your end goal.
Yeah.
At the end of the
Absolutely.
day, it doesn't
One step.
matter as long as you're getting there, moving, and I call it little checks. You check off that little
Exactly.
block, and you're a little bit closer to what you want at the end.
Exactly.